What's good, YouTube? What's good? What's good, everybody? Good morning. Before I get started, please, if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. All right. Hit that bell notification button as well, so you'll be alerted whenever I drop new content. Like, share the video as well. All right. Great news. All right. I know I briefly spoke on this the other day, but Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez is official for January 31st in New York in Madison Square Garden. I believe it's in the big arena in Madison Square Garden. I'm super hyped for this fight, and I know you guys are too, because everybody's hitting me up asking me if I'm going to this fight. I do want to really go to this fight, but I do also want to go live for this fight. So I'm gonna decide, with the time and all that. But I know a lot of you already hit me up telling me that y'all definitely going to this fight. Especially everybody in the New York tri-state area. All right. Oh man. All right. So this fight is gonna be for the WBO strap at 140, which Teofimo Lopez holds. All right. He's been fighting at 140 for a minute now. All right. But look, the reason why I'm so excited for this fight is because there's a group of guys that I've really been wanting to see fight each other. That includes Tank and Ryan, Teofimo Shakur, and Devin Haney. Those five dudes. Those five dudes specifically. Yeah, there's a few other guys you could throw in there. But these guys are around the same age, roughly around the same age. And the only fight that we got out of those five guys is Tank and Ryan Garcia. And I mean, at that time, I thought Ryan was the least experienced, and Tank obviously the most experienced because he's been around longer. He's a little older than the rest of these guys. All right. But this fight here is the best one so far that we're getting officially, out of those five guys. And, some of them moved up, some moved up. Devin Haney's up at 47 now. Shakur is mainly still at 135, but he's moving up to fight Teofimo. Tank is doing whatever. I don't know. Ryan is fighting at 147 as well. But I'm glad I'm getting this fight, because it makes sense, right? Both of these guys are 28 years old. Okay. Both of these guys are around the same height. They have the same reach. You know what I mean? They're around the same size overall. Teofimo, they have about the same number of fights. Shakur Stevenson got 24 professional fights. Teofimo got 23 professional fights, right? Only one loss to George Kambosos, all right? So this is great. Teofimo is a multi-divisional champ. He's a two-division champ. Shakur Stevenson is a three-division champ, going to go for four. So he has that, that's a great accolade to have. But Teofimo is, he held four titles at one point in 135. He beat Lomachenko, he beat Josh Taylor. He has the better resume, and regardless, this is nothing personal. Listen, whatever, Teofimo made some comments and all that. At the end of the day, I'm talking strictly boxing. And as a boxer, very good boxer. Always show mad love and respect on this channel. When it comes to all the stuff outside the ring. What he do outside the ring, that's his business. But as far as a boxer inside the ring, he's solid. He's very good. All right. And I can't wait to see this fight. In fact, I'm actually kind of surprised at Shakur. I'm not surprised at Shakur being a favorite, but I am surprised at him being like a 4-1 favorite. You know what I mean? I think when I checked, it was about that 3-1, 4-1, somewhere around there. And I am a little shocked at that because I do look at this as being a 50-50 fight because Teofimo, in my opinion, is definitely the best fighter that Shakur has faced. Now, to me, I still think that De Los Santos is the most dangerous fighter that Shakur has faced. But we all saw how that fight turned out. Shakur didn't really engage. De Los Santos didn't really engage neither. Shakur had a broken hand. It was one of the worst fights of the year. So now he's fighting someone that brings that same kind of intensity, but he's much more proven than De Los Santos, And we're gonna see how that goes. You know what I mean? I can't wait to see this fight, bro. This is great. You got two boxers. You got one really good boxer puncher against one of the best, most defensive fighters in the sport right now. And Shakur Stevenson might be the most defensive actively boxing right now. And it comes to a great matchup. I mean, when it comes to their abilities, I mean, they're both great counter punchers. They both are great athletes. They both have like twitchy like defense. I mean, reflexes. Shakur's a better defender for sure. But Teofimo brings that power. You know what I mean? He's explosive. You know, again, Tio, I feel like cardio may be an issue down the later rounds, and this is why I'm leading towards Shakur. But Tio can also hurt Shakur if he's not careful. Shakur can't take an approach. He can't take the approach that he took in the De Los Santos fight. We don't want to see that. We don't want to see Teofimo against Jermaine Ortiz. We don't want to see that. We don't want to see Shakur how he fought Edwin De Los Santos. We don't want to see that. We want to see some risk being taken here. But I'm not expecting Shakur to fight Tio like the way he fought William Zepeda. All right. Another thing I want to bring up is that Teofimo Lopez's power has not been a destructive puncher at 140 since he's been there. Okay. It's been a little harder for him to get the KOs, the knockdowns and stuff like that. He's been knocked down, since he's moved up. He struggled since he's moved up. At 135, when he was watching, fighting Richard Comey and all of the guys before that, he was definitely much a bigger, more effective puncher. At 140, hasn't really seemed like that. But Shakur has not fought at 140 yet. All right, this is a featherweight that's gradually moved out. Went to 126 to 130 to 135. Now he's fighting at 140. So even though Tio hasn't been as destructive at 140, he's fighting a guy that's moving on the way up. Now, size, like I said, when they standing next to each other, they're around the same size. But Teofimo has a lot more experience at fighting bigger guys. But Shakur also can probably handle himself well at 140. I've definitely seen him standing next to other 140 guys, and he's not really smaller. You know what I mean? Plus, we can't forget, Shakur Stevenson probably has the best preparation camp in the world. I mean, he's got Terrence Crawford, he got Keyshawn Davis. He is always preparing and sparring against some of the best fighters in the world. He's sparred with literally everyone. Some of it we've seen on tape. He sparred with Lomachenko. He sparred with Devin Haney. He's been in the war with like a lot of these guys. Tank Davis. He sparred with a lot of these guys. And so has Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo might have not the same stable for sparring, and free game like the way Shakur does right now. But Teofimo has sparred with plenty of these guys as well. You know what I mean? So I can't wait for the fight. I'm hoping that nothing happens from now to January 31st. That's all I'm saying. Because there are going to be people probably in the comments that are still going to have doubts that this fight is actually going to take place. All right. The other day when I talked a little bit about it, I talked about it because Eddie Hearn made it official that he's going to be a promoter for this fight. Now, when it comes to Eddie, I like what he's doing here in America, right? I do like what he's doing, right? What he's doing with Jerron Ennis and a few other guys. But it's going to take time. It's going to take time. It's going to take more fights. And he's been doing this thing for a while over here. But it's going to get time. It's going to take time for people to really feel him here, And I hope when they're prepping and promoting this fight, they can get some other content creators or media guys from New York to do interviews, or from the East Coast or whatever from America to help push this fight, do interviews and stuff like that. Because being that Matchroom is part of DAZN, we mainly to see a lot of, the UK stuff, and we're not really seeing much of Americans really pushing for these fights. Hopefully we can see more of that leading up to this fight. Like I said, I hope everything works well. As far as just leading up to the fight, making sure that happens, no injuries, no funny stuff, nobody pops on the test. I don't think that would happen, but you never know. Hopefully none of that happens. And I hope also that this has a good undercard. All right. Hopefully it's a great undercard, because even though this is a good main event, we want to see solid fights leading up to this main event, especially for New York, especially because we don't have many fights in the main garden. We want to see a good undercard for this fight. All right, amazing fight, but let's get some solid undercards. And I mean, I don't need like by names. We don't need big names on the undercard. What we need is good matchups, so people that come out and show love at the actual event can enjoy the fight. So they'll be more willing to pay for tickets in the near future. You know what I mean? So Shakur Stevenson from Jersey, Teofimo Lopez grew up in Florida, but I believe he was born in Brooklyn. So they're gonna promote that. People are familiar with Tio. He's been fighting here for a minute. I've seen him fight here. You know what I mean? Everybody from New York is familiar with him, whether he's really from Brooklyn or not. People know him from being up here. You know what I mean? And that's it. So anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'm leaning towards Shakur Stevenson for now, but I got to do my film study. I got to do my breakdown, and I'll give you a final prediction when that happens. I change often, but right now I'm leaning towards Shakur. All right, I'll see you guys on the next one. Y'all have a good day. Peace.